This show is live. Despite our best efforts, anything can happen. Viewer discretion is advised.
You're going first. Make sure to get the ball down.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome for the 21st consecutive year, your genial and entertaining Master of Ceremonies, Bruce Rainnie.
Good evening, and thank you. Welcome. An acknowledgement, first of all, we are in the land of Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. What a night we have in store for you tonight. This is our most special, most favorite night of the year at the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame. A welcome to you here and you watching across the Maritime provinces on Eastlink Community TV. I ask you to turn your attention to the back of this beautiful room at the Halifax Convention Centre to welcome the outstanding class of 2019 to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame. First up, he has set and still holds Canadian and world records in powerlifting. He is the first Special Olympic athlete ever to be inducted into the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame. Welcome, Jackie Barrett. This Builder inductee has coached Glace Bay Little League Baseball for more than 40 years. His teams won 5 Canadian championships and finished 4th twice at the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Please welcome Henry Boutilier. Basketball official for more than 3 decades, he has refereed more than 1,000 games at provincial, national, and international levels, including 4 world championships. Still an active clinician, please welcome Roger Caulfield. Arguably the finest female basketball player to come out of Nova Scotia, this athlete inductee is the all-time leading scorer in U Sport women's basketball, twice U Sport Player of the Year. She led her team to silver and bronze national medals. Justine Colley Legier. Twice the AUS Women's Soccer MVP while at St. Mary's University, 5 times an AUS All-Star, a 2-time All-Canadian, a national team member for 8 years. Welcome, Suzanne Muir. He was a walk-on with the Halifax Mooseheads in 1994. He became the face of the team and the team leader and went on to a 14-year career in the NHL. From Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, Jody Shelley. And the most accomplished rugby player ever produced in Nova Scotia. He's represented Canada 58 times, including at 3 World Cups. He's played the highest level of pro rugby in both France and England, a level that no other Nova Scotian has ever attained. Welcome, Morgan Williams. There you have the class of 2019, and you'll meet them all in much greater detail just a bit later. Yes, please indeed have a seat. I want to mention that a night like this is not possible without the phenomenal support of our corporate community. And here are the groups that so enthusiastically have brought this night to you this evening. Tim Hortons, the iconic provider of coffee, donuts, and various food items, has been a loyal supporter of the Hall for many years through the simulator and also assistance in producing the book highlighting the top 15 athletes in Nova Scotia history. Scotiabank, founded in 1832 in Halifax, Nova Scotia, its growth has always been fueled by the success of its 23 million customers. Scotiabank is a sponsor of the Hall of Fame's Legends Theatre. Freeman AV, tonight you'll see and hear the stellar work and product of one of the top providers of audio-visual assistance in an ever-changing market. The Department of Communities, Culture and Heritage, the province of Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia's culture and heritage contribute to the vibrant communities and enrich the quality of life in every part of the province. The Department of Communities, Culture and Heritage invites Nova Scotians to experience and take part in our rich cultural expression. Scotiabank Centre is entering its 41st year as the centrally located site for local, national, and international sporting events and major concerts in Halifax. Their production team, Silvervision, produced the fine videos you will see tonight. Eastlink Community TV, the go-to channel for community programming that has built a reputation for its professional presentation of local sport, including Quebec Major Junior Hockey League and provincial high school sport telecasts. Miko Companies is a diversified company of food and industry whose president, Mickey McDonald, has been a staunch supporter of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame for decades. The Halifax Mooseheads, now in their 26th season as the premier sport franchise in Halifax, the Mooseheads provide outstanding hockey entertainment to the people of Nova Scotia. For almost 50 years, Scotia Fuels has been providing all-inclusive home fuel service day or night. Its team offers fast and efficient 24/7 emergency service for worry-free home heating. And our presenting sponsor, the Chronicle Herald, committed to delivering quality journalism across multiple platforms. The Chronicle Herald is the place that Nova Scotians trust to inform, inspire, engage, and entertain every day. The Chronicle Herald was there with coverage when the Hall opened in 1964 and has been a supporter and a sponsor of Induction Night and Hall events for more than 30 years. We also tonight would like to acknowledge Support for Sport, a program of the Nova Scotia Gaming Corporation, a great friend of sport all across the province. It's been there for the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame with considerable assistance every year. I want to ask Petra Addison, the Corporate Social Responsibility Officer with Support for Sport, to come to the stage for some brief comments.
Thank you, Bruce. It's a privilege to bring greetings on behalf of our President and CEO, Bob McKinnon, who is unable to be here this evening. He sends his congratulations to all the inductees on this tremendous accomplishment. This is a special opportunity for me. I have been lucky enough to witness the benefits of Support for Sport from several different angles. First as a funding recipient during my time as a competitive athlete, then working with Sport Nova Scotia to assist community sport organizations access funding, and now as a team member at Nova Scotia Gaming. In 2006, Nova Scotia Gaming launched the Support for Sport program, a designated ticket lottery program where 100% of profits go to sport in Nova Scotia. We did it because we wanted to do our part to contribute to a healthier Nova Scotia. Support for Sport has become the largest source of funding for amateur sport in our province, raising more than $42 million and helping over 125,000 athletes, coaches, officials, and community groups grow their game each year. Support for Sport funding has been used to develop community and provincial sporting programs, buy sports equipment, and provide training and development opportunities for athletes, coaches, and officials. I'd like to take a moment to recognize our program partner, Sport Nova Scotia, for all of their hard work. The program would not be where it is today without them. Thank you, and congratulations to this year's inductees. I am so looking forward to hearing your stories tonight. Thank you, Bruce.
I would like to welcome now to the stage Mark Shampoo. Mark is the chairman of the board of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame, doing a great job for us, one of the province's excellent volunteers. In fact, he was co-chair of the recent Special Olympic Games in Antigonish this past summer. He brought his own fan club, Mr. Shampoo. Very nice. Mark, come on forward.
I was right on cue. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I want to offer congratulations to all the inductees this year. Welcome to the Hall, and thank you for your incredible contribution to sport in Nova Scotia. Past year has been absolutely remarkable at the Hall. The Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame recently was awarded 3 International Sport Heritage Association Awards, one of which was for the best book, the top 15 Nova Scotia Greatest Athletes. Second for best social media presence, the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame Facebook site, and then finally the best education program, the Future Hall of Famers program. They only give 7 of these awards out, and for this hall to win 3 of them is an absolutely amazing accomplishment. Our organization continues to be supported by amazing volunteers. So on behalf of the Board of Directors, thank you to all of you. And I truly believe we have the finest staff of any hall of any kind in the country. So to Carolyn, Shane, Katie, Christina, and of course Bruce, thank you for the magnificent work you do and for your dedication to sport and sport heroes in this province. As Bruce said, I've had the privilege of working with 2 very unique and important organizations in the recent past. One, of course, is the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame. The other being the 2018 National Summer Special Olympics in Antigonish. So on a very personal level for me to be here tonight to celebrate Jackie Barrett as the first ever Special Olympian to be inducted to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame. It's an absolute honor. Jackie, you are most deserving. You're an inspiration to athletes everywhere, and I'm so very, very proud to welcome you to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame. Have a fantastic evening, everyone.
Don't go too far. Thank you, Mr. Shampoo. I'd like to ask Kevin Sanford to come forward, please, to help us present an award. It is the Chronicle Herald Sport Hall of Fame Volunteer of the Year Award, and this one is very important to us. And this year it goes to someone who really likes to stay way behind the scenes, but he is of a magnanimous nature. There's a great old expression, never there to see through you, always there to see you through. I know what he does, he prefers to keep quiet, so I will, but I will say that his devotion of time and resources to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame as a board member and as just a great philanthropist, this has allowed us to expand our programming, do what we do so much better, and reach so many more kids in this province. So, Kevin Sanford and Mark Shampoo are on hand tonight to present the 2019 Chronicle Herald Sport Hall of Fame Volunteer of the Year Award to one of this province's great businessmen and a great friend of the Hall of Fame, Mr. Jim Mills. This is great live TV right here, yeah.
Right here, please.
All right, thank you so much. During the past year, several honored members of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame passed away. I'd like to list those tonight. An athlete and builder in many a sport, Leo Fahey, world-class tennis champion Ken Reardon Sr., a stellar hockey, baseball, and softball player, Bill Hannon, Gino Scatalone, a member of the 1951 St. FX hockey team, and Winston Langell, a member of the 1946 Truro Bearcats. If we could take a moment to recognize their contribution to sport in the province. Thank you so much. One thing we're very proud of at the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame is the engagement of our members, our inductees from previous years. Many have joined us here tonight, and they join us every year to welcome new inductees, new members to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame. I think we have, and this is always dangerous because it's tough to do really totally accurate 100% inventory, but I think we have almost everyone who is here tonight. So to show the province of Nova Scotia and the Maritimes how many past Hall of Famers are here, I'd ask you all to stand, and maybe when you hear your name, wave. And I'm going to say please stand, because I know you're humble and shy. So please, if you're a member of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame, stand, and I would like to mention those that are here tonight. From the sport of basketball, Kathy Spur, Bill Lobin from the Chima Aquatic Club, Dr. Bill Stanish in the house, Brian Melanson from the 1998 Truro Bearcats, Stan Henniger Sr., Ted Upshaw, Acadia basketball star, Rick Rivers, great football official. Judy Rice is with us tonight. Carl McGilvery from KOD Soccer, Virginia Smith from Chima, Sherry McCluskey, from Chima, Mike O'Leary. Basketball, Stephen Johnson, builder Fred McGilvery, SMU quarterback Bill Robinson, golf legend Graham McIntyre, trainer of Some Beach Somewhere, Brent McGrath, Gail Rice, boxing legend Tyrone Gardner, basketball coach Bev Greenlaw, paddler Scott Logan, George Hughes from the 1961 Central High School basketball team, soccer star Mary Beth Bowie. Brad Barton is with us tonight, John Landry, Nigel Kemp, builder of lacrosse Wayne Fink, boxing champions David Downey and Ricky Anderson, paddler Karen Furno, Terry Henderson, Dave Piers, Ed Mullen, Tak Kikuchi, track and field builder Brian Langley, curler Penny LaRock, Ann Dodge, builder Courtney Parks Malcolm, Alan McLaughlin, a member of the Thorburn Mohawks, Calvin Smith, Tracy Cameron, John McDonald of the Kentville Wildcats, basketball's Peter Halpin, Ian Kent from the 95 Dow men's soccer team, Alan Oliver from the Acadian basketball team 1966-77, from the 98 Bearcats Craig Booker, Ivor Axford from the 57 Shearwater Flyers, Jim Bottomley, Kathy Powers, Mike Hashiak, Bernie Chisholm, Ann Murray, Lyle Carter, golfing great Jerry McMillan, Jeff McClellan, Bruce Hopkins, Al Yar, and from 73 SMU football, Cliff Pelham. There they are, Hall of Famers all. It means so much to us that you choose to join us every year, and we thank you. So, almost time to induct the class of 2019. It is not an easy thing, and we are proud of this fact. It is not easy at all to get into the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame. Matter of fact, that the process is actually very difficult. You have to go through several sets of eyes and many a criteria, many a meeting, and to come out the other side is a pretty impressive thing. To tell you more about that, I'd like to introduce the man who for several years has been the chair of our selection committee at the Hall of Fame. He is one of the world's great softball stars and an athlete inductee. Say hello to Mr. Mark Smith. Mark wasn't a very speedy base runner, but he was a tremendous pitcher.
Thank you and welcome. Congratulations to our new inductees tonight. As Bruce has alluded to, it really is an enjoyable process to go through. We spend about 3 hours together at the Hall of Fame reviewing the inductees' resumes and the success that they've had in their respective sports. There are always far more deserving people than we're able to admit at any given time, but when we do arrive at the number that gets in, you can be certain that it's been very well scrutinized. It's very humbling to read the bios of people in this province who have achieved exceptional things for a province that's our size. And when I travel the rest of the country, as I often get to do in my role in sport, I look back at what we've accomplished in Nova Scotia, and we punch so much above our weight with respect to what we've accomplished on an international level and across all sport. So to be a part of this Hall of Fame truly is an exceptional accomplishment. I truly believe as well that it's the most difficult provincial Hall of Fame to get into in terms of our process, which is extremely transparent but also extremely thorough. And to know tonight that you're going to be recognized for the things you've achieved is a truly special experience for you and your families, and very, very deserving. And on behalf of the selection committee, who many of which are here tonight, welcome to the Hall of Fame. We're extremely pleased that you're here. Some of you I know personally, and it's going to be great to catch up with you at a later date. But enjoy a great evening. Our host always puts on a great show, and without question, it's the greatest night for sport in this province every year.
So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the prelude. We are on live television tonight across the Maritimes on Eastlink Community TV, and because we are, we're going to take a 2-minute break. Back with our first inductee in just a moment.
Coverage of the Chronicle Herald Holiday Parade of Lights presented by Eastlink is brought to you by these sponsors.
Let the holiday season begin. Join hosts Michael McDonald and Cindy Day for the Chronicle Herald Holiday Parade of Lights, presented by Eastlink. Saturday, November 16th at 6 p.m. on Eastlink 10 and 610. Available only to Eastlink customers.
Buddy, here we are.
Every child deserves hope and healing. Specialized care. 170 hospitals strong.
Nice job. Push down, push down, push down. Big step. Big step. Mama, tell it, Mama. Push, push.
There's one near you. They all need your support. Children's Miracle Network hospitals.
Come on.
Helping local kids.
Hi, I'm Bruce Rainnie. I'm host of Legends of the Hall and the CEO of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame. And we at the Nova Scotia Sport Hall had the idea that the sports legends in Nova Scotia deserve for their stories to be told in more than soundbite fashion, in kind of extended interview fashion. We made a pitch to the producers here at Eastlink, and they thankfully liked the idea. The result is the program Legends of the Hall. So if you're a member of this community and have an idea for programming of your own, visit eastlink.ca and click on Community TV, and you'll find more information. The 2019 Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame induction ceremony continues from the lovely Halifax Convention Centre. I wanted to mention one athlete we did miss is a former Olympic bronze medal boxing champion in Raymond Downey. So Raymond, welcome tonight. And now, let us kick off and welcome our first 2019 inductee to the stage. Please say hello to Jackie Barrett. All right, Jackie, take a look at that video screen. This is kinda your life right here.
Oh, look how far he's come.
Jackie Barrett, in his essence, is just an extraordinary person. He just happens to be a Special Olympian.
When I think of Jackie Barrett, and I have thought about it, the word large comes to mind. Both the obvious, he's a large man. His personality is large. His dreams are large. Everything about him that I've worked with him at Special Olympics, and his commitment, his desire, everything has been large.
He's been called one of the greatest athletes ever to compete for Special Olympics Canada. He began as a gangly young swimmer and evolved into a world champion powerlifter. No matter what he tried, Jackie Barrett was driven by a desire to be the very best.
Jackie's autism allows singular focus, and he took that applied it to a sport and a ritual that became part of his life. So getting up, lifting, he understood, he researched, he understands the biomechanics of lifting, how important it is for nutrition and everything that goes with it. So he took what autism, as again, what some people refer to as a disability, and he used that as his best weapon to achieve his goals.
He just has such an unbridled enthusiasm and positive attitude about everything he turns his hand to. There's not one negative bone in his body.
Along his journey, Jackie Barrett became a role model for athletes everywhere and left the most remarkable of legacies.
That anything's achievable, regardless of whether you're in a wheelchair, whether you're a person with an intellectual disability. It doesn't really matter. We're all equal, and there's nothing like sport that is able to make the playing field so level, it's beyond imagination.
600 pounds. It doesn't care who you are or what you sound like. It doesn't make judgments or stereotypes. And it will never assume you can't do something just because you are the way you are. £600 is 600 pounds. It doesn't give anyone special treatment.
Jackie Barrett, one of the greatest powerlifters who ever lived, and the first Special Olympian to be inducted to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame.
You can stand up. We're going to present Jackie with a couple of great items here. First of all, the plaque. And to present the plaque, the president of Miko Companies, a longtime supporter of Special Olympics and Jackie Barrett, Mickey McDonald. And to present the pin, a dedicated supporter of Nova Scotia Special Olympics and a member of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame, Dr. Bill Stanish. Very, very nice. Thank you, Dr. Bill. Thank you, Mickey. Jackie, congratulations. Before we chat, I want you to watch the video screen one more time. Somebody else wants to say hello here.
Hi, I'm Tim Shriver, the chair of Special Olympics International, and it is an enormous honor for me to be able to join in congratulating Jackie Barrett on his induction into the Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame. What an extraordinary achievement, Jackie, for you, for the years of hard work that went into your powerlifting achievements, for your many, many, many gold medals, for all the determination you show as an athlete. Congratulations. And for all the messaging you're sending to the world of Special Olympics, that our athletes are as good as any athlete. In fact, they are the best in sports. The fact that you are driving the message into the Hall of Fame, bringing our movement as a sports movement, as a movement of people who give their all through sport and show the power of the human spirit. You are not only lifting your own story, but you are lifting the story of over 6 million Special Olympics athletes and partners, their families, the volunteers, the donors, all the people of goodwill around the world who believe in our movement as a powerful source of inclusion in every community, everywhere. Congratulations, celebrate, lift even higher, and know that as you've lifted those weights throughout all those years, you are also lifting all of the human spirit around the world. Congratulations.
How did you go from swimming to powerlifting?
When I was in high school, I did a lot of weightlifting to help build my speed in swimming. Then when I competed at the 1994 Special Olympics Canada Summer Games in Halifax, it was during one of the races where one of the swimmers suggested that, if you're so strong, Jackie, why don't you take up powerlifting?
And you did.
And I did, and I didn't look back. And there's two people who also recommended I should take up powerlifting as well. These are two of my former swim coaches from the Halifax Whalers, and they were Dave and Leanne Jollymore.
Well, they definitely saw something for sure. You put a lot of stock. You really believe in the mental side of the sport, don't you?
Well, in a sport like powerlifting, where there's a high risk of injury if you don't do anything correct, powerlifting is 90% mental and 10% physical. And to be very, very strong as a powerlifter, you don't just have to be strong physically, you have to be strong mentally.
I know you learned that early on. I'm curious, I love numbers. What is your best ever squat?
My best ever squat was at the 2015 Special Olympics World Summer Games Los Angeles, and that was close to 612 pounds or 277.5 kilos.
All right, get ready. What's your best ever deadlift?
My best ever deadlift was 300 kilograms or 661 pounds, which was done at the 2012 Newfoundland Labrador Provincial Powerlifting Championship in St. John's. But the greatest one we came was actually at the 2015 Special Olympics World Summer Games Los Angeles, when I deadlifted 297.5 kilos or 656 pounds, which was the Special Olympics World Games deadlift record.
Yes. A lot of the video that appeared in your testimonial video, that was from those games in Los Angeles. That looked like it was the most amazing room to be in ever.
It was definitely amazing. On the day I competed at the Special Olympics World Summer Games powerlifting event, it was a little bit nervous as I was lifting in front of over 500 people at the Los Angeles Convention Center, with more people actually waiting in lines just to see me lift.
So you had a sold-out standing room only, right?
Oh, I did.
Yeah. Who are the most important people who got you to where you made all of these achievements?
Most important people who got me to my achievements include my dad, my younger brother Jamie, but there's 4 people in particular who were very important in my Special Olympics powerlifting career. And they included my late Grandma Eisner, my late Aunt Kathy, and most important, one person who helped me become successful in sport and in life and to help me conquer the giants in my life was my late mom.
I know she'd be so proud. What does it mean to you to be the first Special Olympic athlete ever to be inducted to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame?
Well, for me, this is a great honor to be inducted to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame, along with a lot of great athletes in Nova Scotia history. But most importantly, this is not just a big moment for me, but it's also a big moment for over 47,500 true heroes in Canada, which are the Special Olympians themselves.
I want to do one more for you. You mentioned those 47.5, right? What can they learn from your story?
The one thing they can learn from my story is that when it comes to sport, the sky is the limit.
There you go. You're proof. So listen, when we put this night together, it's really important. We have to choose very carefully who's going to kick off the night, because we want great energy. We want something that's going to carry through the rest of the night. I believe we have chosen the greatest leadoff hitter in the history of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame, Jackie Barrett. Well, that's a very strong start. Very nice. All right, so as Jackie makes his way back down, can we please ask the great Henry Boutilier to come to the stage, please? So as Henry takes a seat, please once again direct your attention to the video screens. Here's a bit more on the great Henry Boutilier.
For years, it's been a national mystery. How does the community of Glace Bay, Nova Scotia, produce so many great Little League baseball players and so many great Little League baseball teams?
Fly ball left field, it's out of here, home run!
The big part of the answer? Head coach Henry Boutilier.
Henry was the type of person who he played the game, he was a student of the game, but he understood how much fun that we had, and it was about harnessing the love of the game that we had, and melting that into the creation of a team that was a championship team.
1, 2, 3, Cardinals!
Henry Boutilier started coaching in the Glace Bay Little League 40 years ago, and he is still coaching today. In that time, he has led the team to more than 20 Nova Scotia championships and 5 Canadian championships.
The home stretch of what has been an exciting game. It's over. Home straight. Glace Bay, Kentucky Fried Colonels are going to the World Little League Championship.
For those that have followed his career, it comes down to one thing.
I think he's just so dedicated. I had heard stories that when the Colonels would prepare for the Nova Scotia Championship in the Atlantic and then the Canadians, that they would practice rain or shine at Cameron Bowl in preparation. So the commitment, the time, the effort that he put into it. And I think the tradition that he helped develop over the early years, in the early 80s when it all started, I think really made a big, big difference as time went on, because then the kids wanted to play for the Colonels in Glace Bay.
Glace Bay is a very proud community, and he has given us a national profile. That was never his intention, that's just his ability. When we played in the final game in 1991 in Victoria, it was on national television, thousands of people at the field. We were playing a team from outside Toronto. The whole storyline was that this was David and Goliath, and it was.
but we were Goliath in our eyes. So for a little community, Glace Bay, 14 players, there was no way we were losing that game. And that's the mentality that he built in us. And it was about having that Glace Bay name on our chest.
Success on the ball diamond is one thing. National profile for Glace Bay, another. But for Henry Boutilier, it always went far beyond.
Game's far from over, okay?
It's about character, leadership, and again, just because you're from a small place like Glace Bay, doesn't mean you can't succeed out there. And we've all done pretty well, that team and many of the players that Henry coached, and really it's because of his guidance. And again, that's not baseball, that's life.
Individuals like Henry who are willing to make the sacrifices of summertime especially, giving that time to the kids to help them, not only again to develop their baseball skills, but to develop as people, is very noteworthy. And we're always looking for individuals that we can look to and say they really made a difference, and he surely did.
Hits it on the ground, through the middle, up to second base, on the bag, he's out. And Glace Bay, the Colonels, from Cape Breton Island, are the Canadian Little League Baseball champions.
Henry Boutilier of Glace Bay, Nova Scotia, coach of players, molder of men, and our newest inductee to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame.
Lovely stuff. To present the plaque tonight, Robert Shepard of Glace Bay, a friend of Henry's for over 50 years, and Robert's son played Little League Baseball for Henry for a couple of years. To present the pin, the Vice President of Programming of Eastlink Community TV and a great friend of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame, Michael Smith. Don't go away, Coach. Congratulations. What do you love most about coaching?
Oh, working with the kids. And baseball has always been my passion since I can remember. So yeah, I always planned to coach, and after my baseball career, and that's why I became a school teacher. I had the summers off so I could coach.
Well played. Well played. What about a shout out to your family? Because to do what you have done for so many years requires phenomenal time on your part, and I would think phenomenal understanding on their part.
Oh, well, we just had her 47th anniversary, so she's gone through a lot. Yeah, and of course, we had 3 daughters, and one's passed on 10 years ago, and so we the two here. My grandson is here, and I have sisters here, and sons-in-laws, and aunt here, and so it's just great. My father always looked after baseball as far as after my Little League days when I was 12. We didn't have anything to play when I was 13, so he started the junior baseball. I was playing against 19, 20, 21-year-old guys when I was 14, and that really helped a lot, and we traveled a lot and learned a lot. And my mother gave me the work ethic, of course. I would never have been a school teacher without her. She was the one that drove us to do well in school. And so it's definitely a family thing. It's an honor for the family, that's for sure.
Can you paint a picture for this room of what it's like in Glace Bay at the Cameron Bowl when, I don't know how many people are out there, 10 to 12 to 15,000 for a great big game on a beautiful sunny day? What's that like for you?
Well, the best memory I have in the Cameron Bowl is 1988. We won in BC in 87, and we're hosting the Canadian Championship in 88 in Glace Bay, so we're in the final game playing Ottawa Pinecrest. And the game was at noon going to be on Live World Sports ATV. And 8:30 in the morning, they called me to bring down the lineup. And I went down, and the place was jammed. The people were stayed out all night with tents so they could have their spot. And it was just amazing. So then when I found later on, all the stores in Glace Bay were closed at game time. And the place, there's 15,000 people there. It was just amazing. And I don't think in the history of Nova Scotia there's been a larger crowd for an outdoor event of 15,000 people. I can remember the evening split was over $8,000, and back then, '88, that was big money, and they ran out of tickets. They would have made more money. But the best part, one of the best things in '88 was John Young, our second-year player that won the year before. I was bending down to pick up a bat. He was on third base. Next thing I could hear the crowd rumbling, getting louder and louder and louder. Next thing you know, John's coming in the dugout. He stole home. I didn't have a clue. And so that was a 1-0 game we won. We won 3 games that year, 1-0. The final championship game on TV was 1-0, so it was just amazing.
That's good coaching, really good coaching. Listen, for the coaches in this room, you've done it at such a high level for 40 years. What do you think is your biggest key?
Well, the thing is, people have never figured out, like, Little League baseball is not real baseball. And I learned that long ago. And like Mark Smith's here tonight, I watched those guys play fastball. My late brother Edison played fastball, and I played a bit of fastball. And so I learned a lot of things by watching those guys play, and different positionings, and different how to hit that pitch from close range. We're throwing from 46 feet, the same as them, and the bases are 60 feet. So people have never figured out yet that I've learned a lot from watching these guys play fastball and playing myself, and that adapted it to our kid game.
And how have you decided to treat kids through the years?
Oh, we treat kids with respect, and you'll get it back, that's for sure. And you try to get them the work ethic, and our kids in Glace Bay over the years had a strong work ethic, and we're willing to work hard.
Yeah, you start to think of the effect this man has had at the grassroots level on boys in Glace Bay over the last 4 decades, and the numbers add up so quickly. A legend, ladies and gentlemen, the great Henry Boutilier. Could we have Suzanne Muir please come to the stage? I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, that the narration on the videos tonight is being provided by our Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame Education Coordinator, Christina Bryan, who did a wonderful job of making these scripts come alive. And Suzanne, here are some people that are going to say some pretty good things about you.
Her story has its beginnings on a battered soccer field behind Eric Gray's junior high school in Dartmouth. It's where legendary coach John Kehoe first saw Suzanne Muir, and it didn't take long for him to be blown away.
Her power and speed was just exceptional. Like, as soon as you saw her running, you're like, wow, like, you know, she should be track and field too. And I'm sure she did do that at times, because the first step was just, off and she goes. And once she got past the players, there was no touching her.
Future teammate Mary Beth Bowie recalls a similar first impression.
She just was a phenomenal athlete, and we know that because of her. She also excelled at basketball, right? That's where I first met her. But when I saw her play, she was just such a presence on the field physically.
Bowie also remembers Muir's quiet leadership skills, which blended seamlessly with her immense athletic talent.
You weren't going to outwork her off the field, especially. I mean, she was legendary in the weight rooms. She could lift more than anybody, and she was just such a powerful athlete, you know, and she certainly made everybody want to push harder themselves, both on and off the field.
Add to all of this the ability to shine when the spotlight was brightest, and you had something truly extraordinary.
And she always came through in the big game. You know, you always counted on her. In the first Nationals we went to under 16, she scored every goal for the team, and we won a silver medal, and took us right to the national final against Ontario.
The speed, skill, and desire that made her an instant star in Nova Scotia also led to one of the most decorated university careers ever authored. At St. Mary's, she was a 5-time league All-Star, 2-time MVP, and 2-time All-Canadian. After university, she would lead Nova Scotia to one of its finest moments ever in women's soccer. At the '93 Canada Games, Muir and her team would finish second, and her powerful presence at these games would not go unnoticed.
Her big break came when we played Ontario at the Canada Games in Kamloops in '93, and the national coach came out to watch the game. So I'm not 100% sure. I think more to see Ontario than Nova Scotia, and we beat them 3-2, and Suzanne scored all 3 goals. So, but ironically, she was selected for the national team as a defender.
A 7-year career with the Canadian national team would follow. The final lines on a resume that puts Suzanne Muir near the very top of soccer in Nova Scotia.
You can't get any higher than that, and you really can't start any lower than Eric Graves Junior High soccer field that has about 100 potholes and 50 feet of grass and no nets on mesh. I mean, it was just an old beat-up field with I had to bring my own mesh to put on the net, and that's where we started. I mean, it just doesn't get any lower than that, and you really can't go any higher than she went.
Suzanne Muir of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, a soccer star for the ages, and our newest inductee to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame.
To present the plaque tonight, a former teammate of Suzanne's and a member of the board of the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame, Stephanie O'Connor. To present the pin, a former coach of Suzanne and an outstanding soccer builder in this province, Mr. John Kehoe. Washroom check, John Kehoe. Oh, there he is. So I think every year you were at Prince Andrew High School, you were Female Athlete of the Year. You were the starting point guard on the SMU basketball team, then you'd switch over and lead them in soccer. Can you try to articulate your love of sport?
Oh, my love for sport is just incredible. When I think of all the gifts that it's given me in life, in friendships, experiences shared with family, got to travel the world, it's just a gift.
What is your memory of John Kehoe hearing about you and coming out to Eric Graves Junior High School soccer field with his own mesh to watch you try to play soccer? How does your story match with his?
It's pretty accurate, actually. Yeah, and it was interesting. He found me there at Eric Graves, and then he took us, and me personally, but also teams and many teammates here tonight through the years, and he invested so much in us, as well as not just people, but our families, and his wife Donna as well. So very lucky to have found him that day.
What do you remember most about, you played a lot of games for Canada. What do you remember most about representing the country?
First and foremost, I think it's an honor to represent your country. I think I recognize it doesn't matter what role you're on a team, whether you're in the starting, lineup, if you're on the bench, all the support staff that's there. It's just in time you realize what makes a team, right? And that's what makes it so memorable for me.
You were interesting because, yes indeed, because that game John talked about, you scored the 3 goals, and yet the national team coach saw enough athletic skill in you to say, she'll be a great defender. What was it like to be able to play everywhere?
Well, I think as I got older, I kept moving back, so. But you know what? I think at any point, in any role, you're able to fill on a team, and whatever position that might be, you're happy to do it, and you do your best in that, so.
I'd like to ask you one last one. For little kids now that come into our Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame and look up and see your name and your plaque and your stats and your soccer cleats or whatever, what do you want them to know about your story?
I want them to know that, you know, if you dream it, you can be it. And just to reach for your dreams, and they happen.
Yeah, it's a great message. Folks, the legendary Suzanne Muir. We would like to ask Morgan Williams to come to the stage, please. All right, let's head back to the video screen. Here's a bit more on this great rugby star.
He's been called a generational talent with speed, vision, and skill that made him electrifying to watch. His coach with the Canadian national team has vivid and fond memories.
He was a very special player, played with great skill, high competitiveness, massive toughness. He was a very special teammate for a number of reasons, including the fact that no matter what the level of competition was, Morgan was up for it.
Morgan Williams rose quickly, from prominence on the provincial rugby scene to prominence on the national scene. In 1999, at the tender age of 23, he was a controversial selection to play for Canada at the Rugby World Cup. But it didn't take long for him to reward his coach's confidence.
Good central position this for Canada. It's Morgan Williams. What a shock then. Canada right back in this game.
His great skill and individual competitiveness was demonstrated in the 1999 World Cup when playing against France, in France, in the first game of the World Cup. In only his early caps, he scored 2 marvellous tries from the 22 against France that were hailed by the international press.
And so as an older group of guys, Morgan stepped into a pretty key position at a key time and really started leading from the front. And in that game in particular, I remember he scored a try that put us right in contention for an upset over France by just by being himself.
And it's Williams, ever alive to the possibilities, looking for his second try. The referee has awarded it. 2 tries for Morgan Williams. The second brings Canada right back into this game.
Morgan would go on to represent Canada 58 times. He'd play in 2 more World Cups, the last as team captain. He also was skilled at the Rugby Sevens game and represented Canada at 3 World Cups in that discipline.
He was probably the best back that came out of Eastern Canada ever to play for Canada. And he's continued that contribution since retiring, functioning both as a coach, particularly at sevens for both men and women.
So as for Morgan Williams' legacy, it's still very much a work in progress. Since retiring from professional rugby in 2007, Williams has brought his knowledge and love for the game into coaching.
So he continues to work, even with grassroots up to our women's Olympic team on pretty much a daily basis, and trying to grow the game and by growing all those young athletes' skill sets out there. And, he's pretty passionate about the game, and I think that's the thing that matters the most and what he gives back most to the sport.
And the try scored, Morgan Williams. This time the captain gets in. 3rd try for Rick Secondman. My word, they are taking control of this game, Canada.
Wales are on the brink of catastrophe here. Morgan Williams at the heart of it. He started it, he finished it.
Morgan Williams of Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, one of Canada's great rugby stars and our newest inductee into the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame.
Those were good highlights. Yeah. To present the plaque, the president of Rugby Nova Scotia, Gino Carew. To present the pin, former coach, teammate, and a great friend to this day, J.D. Wheeler. How did you find the sport of rugby?
Man, you know what? I was very fortunate growing up and just having a support system. I think JD, who's on the stage right now, it kind of makes me emotional, but rugby came to me through like a dedicated group of guys, like everyone that I have here. It's a support system that is like no other. And for me to come back here and celebrate this with them is unbelievable. It's, you know, I was just one guy, but you look over here, this group of guys, I know they might not look like athletes now, but.
Wow.
Wow. I assure you, about 30 years ago, it was, you know what, with them, it was the best times of my life, and I thank them for everything that I've learned.
You played all over the world, represented Canada 58 times. Every time you did, under that number 9, right on the bottom of the number 9, you would get a Sharpie and you would write NS. If you look closely, you can see it any time you played. What did that mean to you?
It was, you know what, this is where I started. This is kind of, you know, I've moved away and I've come back and I moved away, but this is where everything started for me, and just like I said, the camaraderie of the guys, and I just wanted to give back to them and let them know that, you know, anyone from Nova Scotia, or, you know, in the case of, you know, PI or Newfoundland, we're so small in nature, but to be able to show people that Nova Scotia is, you know, you can make it. And I think that's the message that everyone is sent, is that we are a small province, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not impossible. And so.
You're the only Nova Scotian ever to play pro rugby. You played in both France and England. What's life like as a professional rugby player?
It was pretty good. I like Jody, there's a lot of stories. I mean, there's a lot of things we can't tell you. But you know, I'm married now, and I was very fortunate enough to have my daughter in France. So for everything that the game gave to me, it was, you know, now in life, I'm so much richer for everything that's happened in my life, and some of the stories I can't, you know,
I understand.
They're locked away, but
yeah.
You know.
This is live Eastlink Community TV.
We've been telling those stories a little bit lately, but that's the only time those will come out now.
Would you share with this room tonight what actually happens in a rugby scrum?
Man, I don't even know. I'm to tell you the truth, I'm the small guy that hides behind them. So.
What do you think happens?
I instigate a lot of it, and the good thing for me is that I've got a lot of big guys behind me, so I can talk the talk, but I definitely cannot walk the talk.
You know what? I've watched a lot of video of you in the last couple of weeks. Is it fair to say that as a rugby player, you were a bit of what we'd call in hockey an agitator?
Totally. Yeah, but it's the same thing in hockey. I can do it because I can't back it up, but like I said, I have this group of guys that used to always back it up. So I could always throw people off, and I was very fortunate to have these guys behind me. Sometimes when they weren't, I took some licks, but yeah. But I'm still standing, and you know, I'm so thankful for the game of rugby and for everything that's given to me, to my family, to everyone here in Nova Scotia. And I just want to say thank you very much for everything that you guys have done.
Right on. Listen, before you go, let's let the room know how the sport continues to be a big part of your life and what you do on a daily basis now.
Yeah, no, since retiring from rugby, I've kind of moved into a coaching role. I have two roles. I'm a full-time fire department, that's my actual job, and then I work as well for the Canadian National Sevens team. So I work with the women. So it was a big jump for me. I played and very competitive, and then I moved over to the women's side, and it's given me so much joy, and it's a bond that's I've created with my daughter. It's something that we have very special. She plays rugby, and it makes me emotional just letting her know. But that's our special thing, and working on a different side is so much different. But it allows me to give so much back, and to see them. I mean, our girls we won bronze in the last Olympics, and we're going to the next one. So the amount that they contribute and the amount they give back is phenomenal. Yeah. Not just back for rugby, but in the community. It's unbelievable.
So all your former teammates are right there, and we've got a seat way over there, a safe one for you, because you really nailed them.
Is that one by the bar?
Yeah. Morgan Williams, ladies and gentlemen. Can we ask Roger Caulfield to come forward, please? Here's a bit more on this wonderful basketball referee.
It's a position where love is hard to come by. But Roger Caulfield was such a great basketball referee that even the most die-hard critics had to give him his due.
He definitely is at the top of my list right now. Now, mind you, my list is quite short, but of my favorite officials. But he definitely, I consider him a good friend. I have great respect for him. And I think what separated him from a lot of other officials was his ability to control the game. You knew as a coach that when you saw him walk into the gym, that no matter what was going to happen, that he would control the basketball game.
Those that know Roger well agree and say he was the best for a simple reason. He refused to settle for anything less.
You know, he played the game. He played small college at Teachers College, so he had a good feel for the game. And I think he was competitive, no different than an athlete. So whatever he was going to go after, he wanted to be the best.
He wants to be the best every single night. No matter what he's doing, whether it's refereeing or coaching, playing tennis with his twin brother. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's just fierce. I know it's an overused term, but he's fiercely competitive.
Competitive fire is one thing, but combine it with a keen instinct for the game, and you have something truly special.
He would do little things like, instead of calling a foul on somebody, he would maybe, mention something to them, People couldn't hear it, but he would say, hey, listen, hands off, watch this, watch that, because he wanted to keep them in the game.
I think Roger had a ability to understand the dynamic of the game between players and coaches as well. You knew as a coach you could talk to him, and he wouldn't do anything crazy, like give out a whole bunch of technical fouls, unless you did something really stupid.
Roger Caulfield retired from active refereeing about a decade ago, but continues to give back to the sport that gave him so much.
He means everything to officiating in this province. And it started, obviously, as an official on the floor, but now has continued as the university supervisor and assigner, running camps for the last 10 years for officials, not just from Nova Scotia, but from all over the Maritimes and beyond. He's the Don, if you will, of basketball officiating, certainly in this part of the world.
He was definitely, at the time, he was probably the best in Canada for sure. And then he would go on internationally. He was one of the best officials in the world. And to me, that's what I look for in people that are in the Hall of Fame is, competing and participating and being successful at the highest level. And Roger was.
Roger Caulfield of Spring Hill, Nova Scotia, referee extraordinaire and our newest inductee to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame.
To present the plaque, one of Nova Scotia's great basketball stars, a member of this Hall of Fame, a board member too, Mr. Ted Upshaw. To present the pin, Paul Hansen, a fellow referee who was mentored by Roger to become among the best officials in the province. Ted and Paul. Your tie was about to be called for traveling there, so you got her straightened out. Good to see you. What do you think makes a basketball referee a good basketball referee?
Oh, that's a tough question. I think the key, Bruce, is to be very good in the last 5 minutes of the game. We're going to make mistakes throughout the game, but I think when all said and done, we got to be really sharp in the final few minutes, and we have to understand that the coaches and the players, they put so much into it, and we're just a small part of the game, and I like in today's world that we're all kind of in it together after the Raptor bounce. We Canada, we Raptors.
I'd love to get two stories from you. The first involves a Hall of Famer who is here tonight, William Njoku, and a great rival he had at St. FX named Richard Bella. Tell me the story about these two guys. It's there, trust me, it's there, go back. These two guys pick up a couple of quick fouls and you have to make a decision because you know the fans paid to come see them.
Yeah, it was the AUS Championships, and I think it was one of the toughest ones I had to do. And man, could those two guys play. Richard and Will. Will was drafted by Indiana, and we had 2 quick fouls on each of them. And I told Will tonight I still owe him another 5 or 6. But they played a long time and never fouled out, and I'm sure they committed at least 20 fouls. And I think as basketball fans, or rugby, whatever you call it one end, you got to call it the other.
Steve Konchelski and a pocket full of coins. That story.
Yeah, Coach K. Coach K. Coach has been around a long time. We have Coach K from Canada, and Duke has their Coach K. Yeah, Steve threw some monies on the floor one night, and because he didn't think Acadia was paying me quite enough.
He let you know it, didn't he?
He sure did.
Yeah. As your video went by, you were on the floor at various times in FIBA competitions with the likes of Steve Nash, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Patrick Ewing. How do you keep from being just a big old fan when you're refereeing a game and these guys are out in front of you?
Bruce, I got to tell you something. And tell the people in this room, and I tell my referees out there today, those are just names on the back of the shirt. The toughest games I've ever done have been right here in Nova Scotia. It sounds great and famous to those, but when you get some of these games in Nova Scotia, I said Jake O'Brien, some of these guys, oh, they were tough to do.
Donnie Ehler in the video talked about how you would listen and talk to coaches and players. What was your communication strategy to make things go as smoothly as possible?
Yeah, I think you have to have a voice as a referee. You got to talk to them and do a little bit of preventive officiating. And our kids, I'm getting so old now, our kids, and I see them at the games today, they're just tremendous. I never did like to give technical fouls. We're so lucky. But I got to say one thing here. If every person that played basketball was as competitive as Donnie Ehler and turned out the way he turned out, boy, I'm proud of them.
Justine Colley was a bit competitive too.
Oh, Justine, she would do anything to win. And Justine created a new rule, the flop rule.
Are you saying that she would embellish fouls?
By all means.
I got one last one for you. To referee as many games as you refereed, 1,000 games, for the home life meant a lot of time away from home. You need a pretty special partner, don't you?
Yeah, you guys know that. You're all connected with sports. I met my wife, Kathy, when I was 16, and it's been 51 years. There was not a night that I couldn't go and concentrate on my job. Through thick and thin, and of course there's been some thick and thins, she would wait up. Of course, who won, who played. She's a Katie alumni. I had my can of Pepsi, but I love you, Kathy.
Listen, is the key to a marriage to never call her for a violation?
She's still the boss. And Bruce, before you take off, I got to thank all my old tennis friends. I love them. They're my buddies. And more important, I want them to live forever along with the warlords.
That sounds to me like a closing comment. Roger Caulfield, ladies and gentlemen. We have two more inductees to come. Both of their first names coincidentally start with J. Stay tuned. A 2-minute break. Back in a moment to the Halifax Convention Centre.
I've always thought, if I'm excited, maybe, just maybe, I can draw you in and hold you.
But if you want it bad enough, you're going to go to those nth degrees to make these things happen.
When you fail, that's the best lesson, because you learn from failing.
Join us for Legends of the Hall, Sundays at 6 p.m. It's on Eastlink 10 and 610, available only to Eastlink customers.
You can be the greatest, you can be the best, you can be the king come banging on your chest. You can beat the world, you can beat the war, you could talk to God, go banging on his door. You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock, you can move a mountain, you can break rocks, you can be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you can find yourself. Standing in the Hall of Fame.
Eastlink Community TV is the home of QMJHL Friday Night Hockey. Catch all the exciting action as the Halifax Mooseheads, Cape Breton Eagles, and Charlottetown Islanders chase the President Cup. The Charlottetown Islanders take on the Acadie Bathurst Titan. The game will be joined in progress courtesy Rogers TV Saturday, November 16th, following the Chronicle Herald Holiday Parade of Lights on Eastlink 10 and 610.
We continue from the Halifax Convention Centre, the 2019 Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We have two inductees to come. And with that in mind, let us please welcome Justine Colley Legier to the stage. if you kind of forget how good she could play basketball, here's your video.
She's yet to hit the age of 30, and she's been retired for less than 5 years. But those that coached or played basketball with Justine Colley speak about her in legendary terms, with a reverence reserved only for once-in-a-lifetime talents.
I've seen a lot of great basketball in my life, and I've played against a lot of great players, but there is no one that even comes close to Justine Colley.
Well, she could do things that I haven't ever seen and probably will never see in my lifetime.
Flex to the weak side, drive by Colley, count it, and the foul for Justine Colley.
She's the best I've coached for sure. She was a very dominant player who could influence the basketball game in many particular areas, not just scoring. She, on a nightly basis, I always used to say she used to fill the stat sheet.
There's a kickoff by Colley. And my goodness, we are starting to figure out why she is the all-time leading scorer in Canadian university history, Justine Colley.
To be the country's most dominant player night after night requires incredible drive and dedication. And Justine was fueled by a competitive streak second to none.
Her number one priority was to compete. And if she had to stomp on you, spit on you, she was going to do that because she was a fierce competitor. She had that fire in her belly. Anytime there was any type of competition in practice, she was all in.
When we were doing sprints as a team, every day she would make sure that people were running and touching the lines fully. You run through the line. Like if you didn't run through the line, she'd make sure you knew about it.
That fire in the belly was evident to anyone who watched Justine play. Her university coach was so taken by her intensity that he named her team captain in her rookie season.
Just from her work ethic on a day-to-day basis, lots of different ways to lead, and she led, the two main ways through both her voice and her attitude and her compete level every day of practice, and I think that really raised the bar for our team.
It really has that ripple effect throughout the team. Oh, if people see Justine working hard, well, I better set my game up too because, she's setting the bar for all of us. She's setting the bar for women's basketball in Canada.
Justine's drive helped put St. Mary's women's basketball on the national stage for several years. A two-time Canadian Player of the Year, Justine led SMU to a national #1 ranking and a spot in the national championship final. But Scott Monroe says what happened on the court is just a small part of what made her special, and that kids can learn plenty from her story.
You can have a huge impact both on the court and off the court. She's been a tremendous leader for her community. She's been, as much as she is a great basketball player, she's a great person as well, a great student, and really well-rounded in all areas. And that, if you're a young female in this area, she'd be a great role model to look up to and a great person to follow in all aspects.
Watch out! Little shake, bake, and take. How about the make on top?
What are you going to do about that? Even the Defensive Player of the Year doesn't have any say in that one.
Justine Colley Legier of East Preston, as fine a basketball player this province has ever produced, and our newest inductee to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame.
To present the plaque to Justine, he coached her through her outstanding 5-year career at St. Mary's University, Scott Monroe. To present the pin, a player with the East Preston Pacers and a cousin of Justine's, Natalia Colley. First of all, in the interest of rebuttal, Roger Caulfield threw down the gauntlet calling you a flopper. Your thoughts?
Listen, I've been a referee too, and I know how difficult it is. So, Roger, I was just trying to help you guys out. I was making your job easier.
I think he agrees, actually. I think he does agree. Where did this competitive fire that everybody in that video talked about, where did that come from?
I definitely think it's a family trait. We're all fiercely competitive in my family, my sisters, my mom, my aunts, my cousins. When there's a competition, you want to be the winner because you don't want to be on the other end of the jokes, to be honest.
I love the story, if you could tell it. You're not quite sure where your love of basketball began, but you think you have an idea because you've heard this story about a toy box. How did that work?
Yeah, my older sister played basketball through junior high, and she actually played for Scott as well. And my mom shares stories of when she played in junior high and high school as well. But my daycare teachers used to talk to my parents about how I was so small that I couldn't actually get the ball out of the toy box. They'd have to get it out for me so that I could go shoot on like the 4-foot net. So I think it's just been something that's always been in me, and it did me a lot of good. That's for sure.
As a kid, how much did you love the game?
I breathed it, I slept about it, I wore the Allen Iverson jerseys and the sneakers, and I was the biggest little tomboy that you would ever believe, and basketball was always at the forefront. I was out there playing basketball with the boys at recess, playing with my sister, watching practices. It's just been something that was always drawn, or I've always been drawn towards, but now as I get older, I think I've just always been drawn to sport and the fire and the competitive nature of bringing people together in a way that nothing else has been able to do in my life, at least. I've been able to meet some amazing people that I would never have probably talked to ever in my life, and I think sport is really just a powerful thing.
When you went to Halifax Grammar School, you were such a phenomenon. Everybody wanted to see you play. You're the only athlete in the history of Halifax Grammar to have his or her number retired by the school. So there were a lot of universities here and down south really interested in you. Why did you choose to go just across the street to St. Mary's University?
My mom can cook really good. But honestly, it was because I really wanted to be able to show the people here in Nova Scotia that you don't have to go far to be successful. You don't have to go to the States. You don't have to go west. You don't have to go to Ontario. You don't have to go to the bigger cities. You know, Nova Scotia has a lot to offer the world, and being able to represent my community and represent this province internationally has been really, really powerful for me and my family and my community. So this honor that I've received tonight is not just for myself, but it's for all of us, that's for sure.
I'd love to know, you often talk about the two Justines, right? There's the Justine that's standing here right now, but you put a basketball singlet and sneakers on you and you turn into the other Justine. Tell us about the two Justines.
Well, I'm a Gemini by nature, so that probably explains why. But I don't know, once there's a goal, once there's a task, once there's a competition, I switch the light switch and the eyes glaze over and I apologize for that person, but it's all in good, clean fun. I always enjoy being competitive with other people, and now I've learned how to kind of calm that fire inside, but it's definitely something that I use in my everyday life, just not only on the court.
Yeah. Here's a question you still get to this day, and you haven't played a competitive game of basketball really in 5 years, and I'd love you to address this tonight. It's a mystery to many. You were so good, and you could have played in the WNBA, you could have had a really long career with the Canadian national team, but at a comparatively young age, you stepped away from the game. How come?
I blame my husband. I fell in love. I know, cheesy, that's what we do. No, by the end of my university career, I started realizing that my mindset had shifted, that I was no longer, waking up eager to play basketball. It was, what am I going to do outside of the time that I was on the court or in the classroom? And when you realize that mentality has shifted, you really don't want to take that opportunity away from someone else that really has that fire still burning inside of them. So I decided to hang up the shoes. Like, as I mentioned, I decided to join the other side, and I went over to join the officials for a few years. And I really wanted to be a mom. And I know for some women that's not always easy to do as you get into your 30s and into your 40s. And that, as I mentioned, that commitment that the national team program wanted from me was not something that I was ready to give them at that point in time. And so I left basketball behind. I am happier now than I ever have been. I have 3 beautiful children, Malaya, Isaiah, and Nayo. And now I get a chance to pass on everything that I've learned, some of my experiences, give those to my children, and one day maybe they'll be up here, who knows?
You know what, I want to see the day. Please call me when the day comes when your son is playing pickup basketball with his 11 or 12-year-old buddies, and you're standing courtside, and he says, "Mom, would you like to play?" Call me, please.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I will make sure that I will call you.
What does it mean to you, final question, what does it mean to you to be Justine Colley Legier from East Preston, Nova Scotia?
East Preston is a special place. There's such a bond in my community that most people don't get to experience if they don't come from an African Nova Scotian community. And so I made sure that anywhere I went, whenever someone said my name, they always knew that it was East Preston and not Dartmouth and not Halifax. And my community is here with me today. They're in full support. And like I mentioned, this is definitely going to go back to the community.
Yeah. I thought I was looking good tonight with my new suit jacket, then you showed up. Anyway, arguably the greatest basketball player this province has ever produced, Justine Colley Legier. And finally, would Jody Shelley come to the stage, please? Let's have Jody take a seat and watch a little TV here.
All these years later, and still, there has never been a more popular player to wear a Halifax Mooseheads jersey than Jody Shelley of Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. His junior teammate from day one was legendary goalie Jean-Sébastien Giguère.
Jody is not the guy that had the most talent, but he was willing to do anything to get better and to, he's a guy that just worked extremely hard to get to where he was. And, at first wasn't the most elegant skater, but that, worked hard on that. That's what made him a good leader with the Mooseheads is, with Jody, if we follow his lead, if we follow the type of work ethic he had, we knew we could go somewhere.
Alex Tanguay remembers that leadership well. One of the most gifted players in Mooseheads history, Tanguay was just a rookie during Shelley's final year with the team.
Jody was actually the one that kind of protected me a little bit because, I got roughened up in training camp and Jody would kind of settle the score, but, just that presence, that loud voice, that great personality, the charisma that he had, in the dressing room was really something that was, my first memory of him.
Carlisle Lewis is overmatched on this one. Getting a few shots in himself, but he's down. Knockout.
As team captain that season, Shelley did a little bit of everything for the Mooseheads. The team had an outstanding year and finished just one win from a berth in the Memorial Cup.
You look at what he did his last year in junior, that's 25 goals, intimidator on the ice, would fight everybody with that toughness, would bring so much to our team. In front of net on the power play was great.
Tanguay says it's no surprise that Shelley made an immediate and lasting connection with the fans in Halifax.
He was here the first year that the Mooseheads started. And you think of where he started, where he was when he started, and what he had to overcome to get to the level that he finished, his last season, being the captain and being a role model and being the player that, that exemplify what, the work ethic that you have to do as a hockey player I mean, the people just fell in love with his personality, his charms, his passion and his dedication for his craft.
Come back in front. All alone in front is Shelley. Jody Shelley showing some hands. He scores. How about that? He doesn't look too good right now, but his hands are working fine.
That dedication to craft would eventually result in what Shelley calls an unlikely 14-year career in the NHL. He played more than 600 total games for 4 different teams and was a fan favorite at every stop. But nowhere did he feel the love like in Halifax. To fans here, he'll always be the captain. Number 25 in the program, but a firm number 1 in their hearts.
He was amazing. He's such a legend here. I was pretty young when in his glory days, but I've heard stories from my dad, and he's impacted his organization in an amazing way. I think he was one of the first NHL players to come from this organization, and just want to congratulate him on going to the Hall of Fame. It's amazing.
Jody Shelley, the pride of Yarmouth, Nova Scotia, and our newest inductee to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame.
To present the plaque to Jody Shelley, Brian Urquhart, the president of the Halifax Mooseheads Hockey Club and one of the Mooseheads' original owners. And he's going to present the pin, Laddie Farquhar. All right, we got some Yarmouth folk here tonight, don't we? Yeah. Right on. What do you think of? What goes through your mind when you watch that young guy in number 25 in the Moosehead jersey?
Well, I'm glad you found some goals, because my young kids are here, and the first images, yeah, it's hard to believe I did that for that long, but I love those goals.
Very slick. Good goals. It's interesting because I was working in Yarmouth when you were a kid, and I watched you play, I think it was Yarmouth Mariners Midget B hockey. And you were a skinny finesse guy, and there were guys on the team who would protect you. You remember those days?
You've been to Yarmouth? There's a few people there to protect you. And, yeah, I was playing Midget B in Yarmouth, and hockey was a wonderful pastime. It was not a priority. And to play for the Mooseheads, to play in the NHL it wasn't even in the same universe. But I was with some great people, great friends. It's a wonderful community, and the people make it so great. So it's a place that I've been to many places all over the world, and when I travel, Yarmouth is always with me, because those days in the Yarmouth Midget B and Bantam there, we got a lot of proud banners hanging in Yarmouth.
Yeah, give me the Coles notes on how the Mooseheads found you or how you found the Mooseheads.
Well, from Yarmouth Midget B, it was tough. So I went to a selects camp in Boston. I got on the NHL draft list. And they were inviting a lot of people to camp, and they said, who's this kid in Yarmouth on the draft list, like when there was 12 rounds. So they called and invited me. And I actually put down the phone and said, I'll call you back. I'm not sure. I don't know what you're talking about. And I talked to my mom and dad, and we got really excited and got invited. And then I got to camp, and I'd never been in a fight in my life. And I heard it was a good way to make an impression. So I tried it, and it worked out pretty good.
Yeah. First fight, you got a black eye, right?
Yeah, I got beat up, but with the impression, it was a good impression.
Right. And that began this remarkable 3-year run. Why do you think, Mooseheads have been around now for 26 years, and whenever the team does a poll as to who the most popular Moosehead player is, almost 3 decades later, you still win it. You still win it. Why is that?
Not just the time in the penalty box, obviously. It was, I think the fans identified with, You know, I wasn't supposed to make the team. I was from Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. No one really knew who I was. And I ended up not only making it the first few rounds of cuts, I made the team, and then I became the captain. And I think there's a lot to be said for a person or a player or any individual in life that is not supposed to, or is told he's not going to make it, and then he ends up making it. I think everyone identifies with that. And I'm a Nova Scotian, so I think that's an advantage too.
Yeah. Your first goal in the NHL, what's the story?
In Los Angeles, California, Felix Potvin's in net, and I just remember touching the puck, and then everyone in the arena went, oh, because we were on the road. But all my teammates came with a look of disbelief that I had the same feeling, and I actually brought the plaque of the first goal. It's at the Hall of Fame right now.
It is, yeah. I don't want to advocate scrapping, but I do love the story. There was a game where you fought Bob Probert 3 times in one game. What was going on? Why were you so angry at Bob Probert?
No. It was an opportunity for me, and I knew the game was on TSN Coast to Coast, so the boys from Yarmouth were going to be watching. And I remember the struggle to ask Bob Probert because he was a legend. And I asked him the first time, and he said he didn't care, really. Yeah, I'll fight you. And it morphed into a second time and a third time, and actually we played them 2 nights later at home in Columbus, so I had to fight him again, 4th time. But God rest his soul, he gave me an opportunity, and that's really what this is about.
What was your record against Bob Probert?
I think I won 1.
More than many. More than many. I want to say tonight a thank you to the Columbus Blue Jackets organization, because this guy has gone on to become one of the best hockey color commentators in the business. He works for Fox Sports Ohio. And Columbus is playing tonight against the Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues. It's not easy to get you a night off. Tell me about that negotiation, how it went.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just mentioned that I was going to be a part of this, an induction in the Nova Scotia Sports Hall of Fame, and I told them early enough that they accepted it. So it's such an honor and a privilege to be a part of this. I brought my family here from Ohio, my wife Mandy and my 2 kids. My mom and dad are here, a great contingent from Yarmouth, and the fact that they understood that this was the magnitude of this to us, it means a lot. So thanks for bringing that up, because, you know, Nova Scotia, as everyone has been saying, it's not the biggest place in the world, but we're all so proud of what this place means to each other as we travel throughout. So it's the people like you, it's the province, it's the cities, it's the towns, and this has really been a special night.
26 years later, final one for you. What does it mean to you to be a Halifax Moosehead alumnus?
It's hard to put into words, because that 3 years of major junior here in Halifax in this city, I was on a ride of a lifetime I never thought I'd be on. And when you leave and you look back at the accomplishments they've had, the players they put in the NHL, the way that organization is looked at in the CHL, I couldn't be prouder, because they are the upper echelon of Canadian hockey. So I'm so proud of them. I'm proud to have been there, to see Nathan McKinnon, speak like that. We all have a common bond, but I think the most important one is that we all understand Nova Scotia, and especially Halifax. We have a smile comes on our face when we say Halifax, Nova Scotia.
There you go. Jody, Shelley, ladies and gentlemen, the pride of Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. You stay here, okay? Well, what a night. I would like Jody to stay and all the other inductees to come up and join Jody. We're going to try to set up what is a great group shot for all of you tonight before you leave. Before we do, to the volunteers who made this night possible, thank you so much. To the sponsors and to the best staff on the planet at the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame, thank you so much. I think you'll all agree the class of 2019 is one very special group of people. One final look and a great photo to come. Folks, thank you for coming out. Thank you to Eastlink. Have a great night. We'll see you next year.